you for the gracious welcome that you have shown to me and my wife Karen on our very first visit to Ecuador. We are opening a new chapter in the relationship between the United States of America and Ecuador.
What a beautiful video. What a beautiful welcome. Maybe that's the reason the U.S. Vice President was pacified enough not to call out names when he brought up the dark times in the U.S.-Ecuador friendship while visiting President Lenin Moreno in Quito.
Prior to your election, our nations had experienced 10 difficult years where our people always felt close, but our governments drifted apart.
Though that was clearly a jab at someone who proudly stood up against America's whip-cracking hand while in charge of the small South American nation. Just think of how Rafael Correa sheltered Julian Assange. What a slap in Washington's face that was.
We've given diplomatic asylum to Julian Assange after exhausting all means. For what? To guarantee that he's not extradited to a third country, which could put his life in danger. The life of Mr. Assange is at risk. A life sentence, which is being dead while alive.
Under Lenin Moreno, who was ironically praised by outgoing leader Correa at the election, the tide has clearly changed. Mr. Correa even ended up calling his successor a traitor.
Moreno is absolutely submitted to the United States. He's doing his homework for the United States.
Let's look at what he could have meant by that. The first signal Julian Assange could soon be shown the door at the embassy in London was when the American media reported President Moreno had once met Donald Trump's former campaign boss, Paul Manafort. It was claimed Mr. Moreno was trying to negotiate concessions from the U.S., like debt relief in exchange for kicking the whistleblower out. Back then, it led to nothing, but today it's clear he's not a fan of Assange.
Too many times Mr. Assange has violated the agreement. Wikileaks engages in espionage and hacking.
As a real U.S. imperialism-hating tough guy, Rafael Correa was known as a staunch ally of Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro. Well, for Ecuador's current president, someone else, quite well known, is the true leader in Caracas.
I have spoken with President Juan Guaido. I have invited him to Ecuador to receive the affection and support of a people who love democracy.
Mr. Correa was on a mission to rid his country of Uncle Sam's folks step by step. He first refused to extend the lease of an Ecuadorian airbase to the Americans beyond 2009, and then told all U.S. military attaches to leave the country in 2014. Only a few years later, Sam's coming back.
The governments of Ecuador and the United States decided to resume bilateral military cooperation, training and assistance to contribute to Ecuador's ability to combat shared threats.
Wonder Correa's moves were annoying those in charge in D.C., to say the least. So starting from 2014, millions of U.S. aid cash stopped flowing Quito's way. Under Mr. Moreno, the bucks of freedom are slowly starting to find their way back.
Today, I'm pleased to announce that the United States will support that effort to root out corruption with nearly $1.5 million to support your efforts to end corruption and strengthen civil society in Ecuador.
Oh, it seems it didn't take long since the right man came in.